So it's been a day since Dracus du Plessis beat Sean Strickland for the UFC Middleweight Championship at UFC 297, and I've seen a lot of different narratives. I've seen a lot of different narratives go around. You know, that Sean Strickland got robbed. I've seen all these weird scorecards, but one of the narratives I've seen going around is Sean Strickland clearly won. Joe Rogan, on his Joe Rogan fight companion, said that he won. Everyone on his fight companion agreed that he won. It's like it doesn't work that way. I'm gonna talk about the problem with using Joe Rogan's fight companion as a way of, acting like that is the almighty authority on who won. Now, before I get right into this, it was a close fight. Sean Strickland could have won that fight. Dracus du Plessis could have won that fight. It's one of those fights where either way, if that would have gone to Sean Strickland, I wouldn't have been upset about it. I wouldn't have been upset. Watching it live, I thought that Dracus, slightly edged the second round. I thought he clearly won the third round, but the second round, I was thinking maybe Sean Strickland took it, but then I was thinking, yeah, he did land a lot. He did land the bigger shots, and damage does trump all when it comes down to it. So I was thinking, yeah, Dracus probably did land the bigger shots, but I wasn't completely dead set on Dracus winning that second round. It could have gone either way, guys. It really could have gone either way. It was one of those fights. It was just one of those fights, but I rewatched the Joe Rogan fight companion just to see, what they were saying. They had Sean Strickland winning 4 rounds to 1. That is ridiculous. There's no way you can have 4 rounds to 1 Sean Strickland, in my opinion. That's just craziness. That's not a proper scorecard. You just can't do that, in my opinion. You really can't. Just personally, I think 3 rounds, 3-2 either way is the correct way to score this fight. But I also want to break down why you can't really take Joe Rogan's fight companion's word for everything. Let's factor in a few things. Firstly, they're chatting shit. Now, I will say, Joe Rogan, in fairness to him, seemed to be really paying attention. But then you got, Joey Diaz, who's, just fucking around. They're all drinking as well. They're drinking. They're under the influence. They are not fully competent because they are drinking. They are under the influence. There's a reason why you cannot drive while under the influence, because it impairs your judgment. When you're watching fights and you're drunk, it's going to impair your judgment too, He's going to be watching that fight and he's going to be like, shit, man, Sean Strickland pouring it on. But he's not going to realize that Dracus is landing the bigger shots on Sean Strickland, the more damaging shots. His medium strikes, he's landing his medium strikes, way more medium strikes than Sean Strickland is landing, Sean Strickland is landing a lot of strikes, but a lot of them are just pitter-patter shots. They're not as damaging as Dracus du Plessis. Dracus du Plessis was landing the heavier strikes. And I know that does sort of benefit Dracus with that system because he is the power puncher. He's the heavier puncher than Sean Strickland in general. He just has more natural power. And I know Sean Strickland can't help that, but when you're scoring a fight, it's about who's hitting the harder punches. And Dracus du Plessis is the more damaging man in there. He is landing the much bigger bombs in that second round and that third round. But the thing with Joe Rogan's fight companion as well, that one of them will say something and then they'll just be because they're drinking and everything, they'll just agree with it. Brendan Schaub. I will say, Brendan Schaub during the fight companion, he made a weird comment where he was shit, man, imagine what Bo Nickel or Israel Adesanya would do to these two guys. We just watched Sean Strickland beat the fuck out of Israel Adesanya, Brendan Schaub. What do you mean? What could you imagine what Israel Adesanya would do to these two? Well, we seen how Sean Strickland versus Israel Adesanya went. Israel Adesanya got his ass beat. He got the fucking shit beat out of him. So we've seen that one. We've seen how that one goes. Now, Bo Nickel's an unknown commodity. How do you even say that word? An unknown commodity? I think that's right. I'm not going to try and say that word again. He is unknown when it comes to... We don't know how good Bo Nickel is. I think he is very good. I think he is going to be something special. But he's not fighting the best guys. So you can't really straight up say that... at least with Hamza Chimaev, he was beating, GM3 in his third fight. GM3 is a good middleweight. We can at least use that. But Bo Nickel, he's beating fucking... look at the guys he's beating. Jamie Pickett, one of the worst middleweights on the roster, beating Who did he beat after that? Val Woodburn, who was undefeated, but not really like the greatest guy. Now he's moving down to welterweight. Like, we don't really know how good these guys are yet. Like, how good Bo Nickel is. He's fighting Cody Brundage next, who's not even like a great fighter either. So we don't know how good Bo Nickel is. But Brendan Schaub is already like pushing this narrative that he kills fucking Sean Strickland and Drakers. Did you not see how good Sean Strickland's takedown defense was? I know he got taken down, but he popped right back up. He's a cardio machine. We haven't even seen Bo Nickel take a punch yet, so just slow your roll a little bit, Brendan Schaub. That was something I noticed in there. And he said it more than once, but the Israel Adesanya part really pisses me off just because we've seen what Israel Adesanya would do to Sean Strickland, which is nothing. He won't do shit to Sean Strickland because Sean Strickland is too defensively sound for Israel Adesanya. His style, his precious style, is too much for Israel Adesanya. He did the fucking man dance with Israel Adesanya, Brendan Schaub. So to quote Sean Strickland, shut your fucking mouth. You know, shut your fucking mouth, Brendan Schaub. Respectfully, Brendan Schaub, just shut up. We've seen how Sean Strickland versus Israel Adesanya goes. It doesn't go very well for Israel Adesanya. So, yeah, that was just weird. And also, I think Drickus is like a tough matchup for Izzy as well. So that was just a weird comment. Another comment Brendan Schaub made is like, when they were reading out the media scores on not the media scores, but like live scoring on the broadcast, he made a comment where it was like, I think Joe Rogan said, are we watching this wrong? And Brendan Schaub says, yeah, they don't know as much as us. It's like, fighters are some of the worst scorers. Some of the worst live scorers are fighters because they have just an inherent bias. You've interviewed Sean Strickland. You know Sean Strickland personally. I don't think you've ever done anything with Drake Super C. So you're going to have an inherent bias to Sean Strickland. I feel like that is probably the case. Joe Rogan had Sean Strickland on his podcast. Joe Rogan is notorious for being... I'm not going to actually say too much bad things about Joe Rogan because he actually was pretty fair. I know he had a pretty bad scorecard. 4-1 Strickland's pretty bad. But he was actually very fair with his assessment of the fight. He said, you know what, it was a close fight and everything. But Brendan Schaub, like, saying that all these people, they must have investments in South Africa and all this stuff. It wasn't that bad. It really wasn't. It was free to either way. But what I was going to say about Joe Rogan was, he still did have Sean Strickland on his podcast. And he has been known to be a little biased to guys who go on his podcast. But I would say he was actually pretty fair in this case. Like, he wasn't too outrageous. But they kept saying, they gave it to Drake because of the takedown. He actually did do more damaging shots. It wasn't about the takedown. I did agree with them. They were correct. He didn't win the rounds because of the takedowns. You don't win rounds just by getting a takedown and doing nothing with it. But he was landing very damaging shots that got him those rounds. That is how Drake Super C got his hand raised. It's because he was doing the more damaging shots. His striking style was so fucking awkward. This was both very awkward. Like, I knew that this fight would be one of those weird fights because both of these guys are just very awkward fighters. So when you have two awkward guys, it's going to be some weird way the fight goes. Like, it's going to be an awkward finish, awkward fight in general. Like, these guys, it's just very, very awkward. Very, very awkward, I must say. They're very awkward. So it was always going to be a weird fight like this. I didn't think it would go to a decision, but it was still a very close fight, competitive fight. There's nothing wrong if you think this fight went either way, but I just don't know. I don't think people should be using a drunk Joe Rogan and a drunk Brendan Schaub and I don't even know what the fuck Joey Diaz was on, and Eddie Bravo as the voices to say who definitely won the fight. And Eddie Bravo thought it was close. He didn't say it was a robbery or anything like that. Joey Diaz, he didn't say anything like almost the whole fucking fight, and then just out of nowhere he says, you never see... Fucking hell, I gotta move away from my mic. It's gonna fucking make some loud noises when I do this. Okay, there we go. It's far away now. The thing with Joey Diaz is he'll be like, I think he said like a quote, he was like, you never see a bookie with a part-time job, cocksucker. Like, said something along those lines. And I guess he is technically right. This wasn't a robbery by any means. But yeah, people need to stop using Joe Rogan's fight companions Just, like, definitely. They even did this with the Islam Makhachev versus Alexander Volkanovski fight. I thought personally Volk won, but it was nowhere near a robbery. They were acting like it was like outrageous to give it to Islam. And I'm Australian. I'm very biased to Volk, and I even didn't think that was a robbery. I might have said, right after I might have said, oh, that was a robbery because I watched it live. I was there live. I didn't have the channel at the time, but I did think that watching it, I was like, oh fuck, like Volk got robbed. But that was just like emotions. When I rewatched it, it was pretty clear either way. I think you can clearly give it to Islam. You can also give it to Volk. It was just one of those close fights. But because on Joe Rogan's Fight Companion, that they went in there and they said that, Sean Strickland won. Now everyone's like, yeah, Joe Rogan said it. Brendan Schaub said it. Like, Brendan Schaub, that's where we're getting to. We're in this point of society where Brendan Schaub's opinion is where, that's the final say on how a fight went, is fucking Brendan Schaub. And Joey Diaz, who's probably fucking coked up. I think he was smelling salts or something like that and drinking. Like, they were drunk. Who knows what else Joey Diaz did before he came. Maybe he had a few of the nose beers, I'm not quite sure. But, I don't know. I just found it very interesting that this is a narrative that because Joe Rogan said it, it's the final say. It was free to either way. I'm not going to say, it wasn't a robbery. That's all I'm going to say. Like, no, it doesn't matter who you give it to. It's not a robbery. It's just a very, very close fight. I've had so many people say, oh, Strickland got robbed. Strickland got robbed this. It's like, he really didn't get robbed. But, I don't know, this is just going to be a narrative that goes on for a while. I feel like Dracus is going to be one of those champions very similar to a Volkanovski where nobody's going to give him respect until he goes out there and has like a great performance. I think he's going to defend the belt a few times. I think he's going to beat Israel Adesanya, maybe even beat Hamza Chimaev. That's like a pretty hot take, I know, but just looking at it, like, Dracus has pretty good cardio, very good pressure. He could break Hamza Chimaev. We have seen Hamza Chimaev slow down, especially with the pace Dracus fights. We might see an even more gassed out Hamza, and 5 rounds as well. Like, there are some big factors in there. Now maybe Hamza just goes out there and balls him, but Dracus isn't a quitter. He will fucking come out that second round swinging if he gets more than 10-8 in the first. So I do find some interesting times, but middleweight's getting really interesting, man. We've had Alex Pereira's champ, then we had Adesanya win the belt back, Strickland then became champ, and now Dracus. Who knows? Maybe Hamza up next. We'll find out. But I am thinking that we will see Dracus versus Adesanya soon, and I do think Dracus will win. But yeah, let's just stop using Joe Rogan's podcast when he's drunk and probably high as well. They were probably a bit high, a bit drunk, a bit of everything, They definitely had an altered state of consciousness as they were doing this. So like, let's not use it as the final say on everything, please. But yeah, that's all I've got to say on this topic. I just thought I would make this video just so, maybe just to stop this narrative. It's not a good narrative. Like, it would be like saying, shit, man, Chris Curtis, he did a live Fight Companion. He had Sean Strickland winning. Strickland should. Or it's like saying, shit, man, Cameron Simon, he did a live Fight Companion. He had Dracus winning. I think that's pretty much set. Like, I'm not saying that they're inherently, I'm not saying they're super biased, but they do have an inherent bias because they do know Sean Strickland. Like, you could tell they were rooting for Sean Strickland to win. Like, it wasn't like they were, whoa, let's go Sean. I mean, they sort of were. Brendan Schaub was clearly going for Sean Strickland. He made that very obvious. Yeah, I don't know. 4-1 Strickland, though, that's a crazy scorecard in my opinion. But I don't know. I've watched some highlights of the fight back. Maybe I need to actually properly watch the fight back. But I did. From what I was watching, I did think Dracus won, but I didn't think it was crazy to give it to Strickland. But I've said that about 5 times now. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you like this video. Share this video around. Let's get this narrative broken. Let's fuck this JRE narrative. Let's share this video around. Let's gather the troops. Let's get everyone to watch this video, like this video, share it around, send it in MMA group chats, share it to your friends if they watch MMA, or just send it to everybody. Let's get everybody to watch my channel, everybody to watch this video, share this video around, and if you're not already, subscribe, tell your friends to subscribe, tell your family members to subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching. Give me your thoughts on this whole narrative that JRE is the final say on who the winner is of UFC title fights, because it's getting a bit ridiculous at this point. We've seen this happen multiple times now. It's like, they're drunk, they're drinking, they're probably high before their show. Like, there's just so many things that go into this. they only do the main card as well, so they probably had like a couple cones or something before. If the Aussie cones is like, you know, a hit, having a bong before. So I don't know. We'll find out. I don't know. Joe Rogan though, he has a lot of power. If Joe Rogan wanted to, he could convince people that Mayra Buno Silva clearly beat Raquel Pennington, and people would believe it. Like, he is a very powerful man. He could run a cult. Honestly, Joe Rogan could run a cult. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Cheers. Make sure share this video around, please. Thank you. Adios.